So in Niger, they had requested that France take their ambassador out of their country. They have a right to request this. They say their services is no longer needed. They don't want them. They don't want their military. They don't want anything in their country. And every country has a right to say who's in their country and who's not in their country. If you can't say who can come in and out of your country, you're not running your own country. So they had gave a deadline originally for France to remove its ambassador. They did not comply with this request. They feel like they can do whatever they want to do. You say in Niger and anywhere else they want to go to in West Africa for sure. So now the narrative is this. Macron has came out and say, well, our ambassador is being held hostage in the French embassy. I want you to hear exactly fully why he is saying this.
Niger, we have an ambassador and diplomatic staff who are literally being held hostage in the French embassy as I speak. Food deliveries have been prevented, they are eating military rations, and they are staying there because, quite simply, France, which supports democracy and considers that there are no double standards for Africa, considers that President Bazoum, who is being held hostage in his own country, is the legitimately elected president. How can you expect us to issue visas or engage in cultural cooperation when you no longer even allow an ambassador to go out?
That is a complete lie, what Macron just said. He's lying because Niger has said this, okay, since you don't want to leave, no problem. Cut the food off from you. We're going to cut your internet off, your lights off. You can't leave your embassy. You have no right to free roam in our country. So how is they holding the ambassador hostage? Hostage means, hey, I want to go back to France. And they say, no, you held here against your will. If the ambassador say right now that I want to go back to Paris, I'm willing to leave, they will let him leave because they want him to leave. How are you going to stay in somebody else's country that don't want you there? What do you think is going to happen? That's kind of like somebody's in your home and you say, hey, man, all right, you need to go ahead and go. And they're like, no, I'm not going nowhere. Well, what you think your attitude is going to be toward that person? 9 times out of 10, most people want to grab that person and throw them out of their home. So why do you think they would not have any kind of attitude about you being there? Now, when it comes to embassies and all of that, the way the law works internationally is that an embassy is the property of that particular country. So if you're at the embassy, it's like you being in France, right? If you go to an American embassy, it's like you being in America in that particular grounds. So that's why he's trying to stay there. But if a country say we don't want you or your people here, they have a right to say that. You can't just do whatever you want to do. But see, this is the colonizer mentality that France has. They feel that, hey, we don't have to listen to Africans. We don't have to listen to none of y'all. We do what we want to do. We could continue to take your uranium. And when I had checked the price of uranium, it was over $66 for uranium. Well, do you know France was getting the uranium out of Niger for 80 cents? So this is why 85% of people in Niger don't even have power. But everybody in France have power off of the resources out of Niger. That isn't right, France. France, if you actually needed some resources, you should have paid full price for one. Or at minimum say, hey, if I don't have to pay full price, maybe I can pay half price, but I'll make sure that you have running power stations where the whole country can have lights. I'll make sure you have paved roads. I'll make sure you have bridges, plumbing, everything that we have in France, you have here. But if we can get the resource at least half of the cost, and we'll do that. You know what they would say? Okay, that's a good trade-off. We get paid half. You help us build up the infrastructure. No problem. That's being a good trading partner with somebody. If you're doing all that, then no, you shouldn't pay full price. I'm with that. But they didn't do that. They didn't pay half. They paid 80 cents. That's it. And you wonder why they want you out. Every country that France was officially colonizing, then now when they moved into neo-colonization is, okay, we're leaving, but we're going to put our puppet leaders there. And Bazoum is a puppet leader. He going to do everything France wants. Paul Biya in Cameroon, a puppet leader. You know what I'm saying? That guy don't even live in the country. That's the crazy part. But it's time for France to go. You have got enough resources out of Niger. It's time for you to go pull yourself up by your bootstraps and fend for yourself. But it's sad that their literally existence will end tomorrow if they're kicked out of all those 13 African nations. And they need to have a conglomerate happen where they get together and they say, okay, we all on board to get them out. Now, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger are starting to talk about forming a military alliance just so they won't get invaded and so they can protect each other. That's good. All African nations should be in an alliance like that. I don't know why they shouldn't have started that sooner. France do not belong in those people's country, especially when they don't want you there. They don't want you. But let me know what y'all think about, this situation. Macron lying again. I always tell y'all, when it comes to people like Macron, if they're talking to you, they're lying.